Welcome back to the Reality Guys. I'm your host, Billy Blinks, joined as always by my co-host, Brian.
So
We're here today to cover another doubleheader. This will be our fourth week in a row now doing this. We're going to cover in the first half the challenge, Spies, Lies, and Allies. We are on episode 18 of this season. And then we're going to flip over to the challenge All-Stars season 2, which is on Paramount Plus. We're on week 5 of that. Especially for All-Stars, man. It seems like it's flying.
it really does. And we'll get to. I have a comment when we get there.
Okay, cool. But like I said, if this is your first time watching, please like and subscribe to the channel for all things challenge. Like I said, right now we're covering both challenge series. We also cover everything in the Bachelorette franchise. We cover everything in the Survivor franchise, a lot of other things like Netflix shows, etc. So anything reality TV, follow to see more of us. But anyway, episode 18, Spies, Lies, and Allies. This was entitled The Night of Mistakes, which I think is a pretty fair assessment to what ended up unfolding in this episode. It's kind of playing off the idea that this was, if you saw the end of last week, we were left with a cliffhanger after the Emmanuel elimination where he won, that there was going to be more eliminations. So a classic purge scenario. We find out from TJ that one guy and one girl are going to be eliminated. And the way that's going to be nominations are going to work are a out loud public vote. And then the person voted in calls anyone out they want. And with not knowing what the challenge is and going in. I love this, Brian. You know, I've been begging for purges, but I just want to get your thoughts off the top of what you just thought of the whole premise.
I also really liked it a lot. I liked putting people on the spot, the dissolving of the cells, and I also like that the person who won had the priority to pick, because I think like you saying something out loud, you can influence others in like that situation. So if you want to set the tone with a person, I don't think it happened here, but I really liked it. I thought it was awesome. I don't like this like where they couldn't hide behind each other.
It was something where it was a great part, like you mentioned, the dissolving of the cells, and something towards the end of the episode, which it may have upset me a little bit. Cells come back into play a little bit, but I do like that. I think these cells may come back to bite them, actually, which I think was really cool. And we'll get to that when we get to the end of the episode. But first, we have to cover the Night of Eliminations. We'll start with the female elimination. I thought this was pretty open and shut what was going to happen here. Amanda is voted in by the group. She takes it on the chin. Everyone knows I've turned on Amanda. Amanda is basically my like Severus Snape. She was just that piece of crap who I hated and treated us like shit and treated people like shit. But by the end, she's turning out to be the hero we needed. Unfortunately for her, she's kind of dumb. Yes. I don't know about you, Bryce. The first note that I had to ask you, going blind into an elimination. I was actually talking to my friend Ryan and his girlfriend Kelly about this last night because they were watching. Wouldn't it make sense, and this is for guys and girls, to try to take who you think the weakest overall player would be? And I don't think Tori is the weakest overall player.
I would have gone Nani.
100% you go Nani, dude.
I mean, to me, if you're going to go weakest, hasn't really done anything this year. And is she even that great?
Nani?
Yeah, when we get to the final, like she was never like she was in the bottom like leg every time.
Nani would have lost this elimination.
I think so too.
This elimination, she ends up picking Tori, and that's just playing off the stupid storylines. I really don't know why it's great. It's a great story, but unless you were going to get, this was the worst possible challenge to pick Tori for if you're Amanda. So the elimination, this one is called Drone Drop. This was where there was a drone carrying a football and they would drop it, and it was basically kill the man with the ball and get the ball and throw it into your trash can. Bri, my only note here before we get into how it goes, it's just a stupid theme of them having to keep it a goddamn spy theme. So like they could have thrown the football in.
Yeah, I agree. I'm surprised it wasn't shaped like a missile. It just everything has to be like bombs or guns or
lasers.
Yeah, like I thought this would have been better for the guys. I think like I thought it was very lackluster. Like Tori literally just picked up Amanda like a kid who was being naughty at like a supermarket and walked him out. Like it was right. It just wasn't not really eventful. And she like I don't mean to keep rambling on about this, but somebody was like, "Yo, kick the ball." Remember when she threw the ball closer? She needs to get that ball away. Like she needs to like a random event to happen where she can use speed to dunk
Yep.
the ball in. And I just don't think she was not thinking straight.
So obviously from our train of talking here, Tori easily took care of this challenge in a 2-0 sweep. A good season by Amanda, but not going to make a final. The second challenge here, we had the 3 puzzle game. You said this was triple threat, right?
Triple threat.
Okay, cool. Why don't you let us know who was involved and everything kind of with this one?
Okay, so since it had to be a guy, so I don't even remember, was it Emmanuel? They voted Emmanuel. So Tori got first pick. And I think she picked Nelson, right?
Yes.
Yeah. So
that set Nelson off.
That kind of started some drama. Like the girls one wasn't as much drama. The guys one, you were really feeling it. So Tori leads off with Nelson, and then everyone ends up going to Emmanuel. And what did I say? Funny?
No, it's just so funny. I'm just thinking about it. She's the only one, and then everyone else votes Emmanuel. They're all like, "What are you doing?"
Right. So and I was like, "Shit, he's gonna take that. Like he should take Devin, which he should have." But he just got unlucky that it was a puzzle challenge.
100%.
Yeah, and I actually thought this was a really cool challenge, and I think we need to. I want to say this up front. I think we need to stop with help from the audience.
I don't think they should be able to see the puzzle.
This is the end.
Why can't they just turn it the opposite way?
Yeah, I agree.
Yeah, so it was 3 puzzles.
It was turned opposite. I don't mean to cut you off. It was opposite, but they're like yelling what's going on.
Yeah, they were. Yeah, you shouldn't be able to talk to them even. Yeah, they should be able to cheer for you, but no interaction. You're right. It's because they were like, it's a puzzle. Like, you have to add it to a number. It goes up. You know what I mean? So, yeah. I agree. So 3 puzzles in sequence, and you have to get each one in a row. Correct?
Yes.
So you kind of mentioned that. So, Brian, why are you bringing up the fact that you would like that interaction to be banned?
Because Tori was she was a habitual line stepper today, where she was really, she kept saying, "Oh, I want both of them to win," but she was only helping Emmanuel. And the guys were, Nelson was pissed, and I think everybody else was.
CT was like audibly angry. He's like, "Tori."
Yeah, it's not cool. Like,
really not cool, man.
Like that. Like the whole point of it kind of takes away from the competitiveness. Like, because I don't think that I think this would have been a Devin. He won. We're gonna get to that, but I don't even think Emmanuel would have got past level 2.
No, I don't think if Tori didn't tell him the 15, there's no way. And what is the deal there? Like, again, I understand that they're like hooking up. They may be dating now. I don't really know. But that being said, I mean, they probably knew each other a few weeks, and she has relationships, especially Devin. I mean, this is the same Tori that told Devin not a week ago that if he said her name, their real life friendship was over.
Right, completely.
So what about your real life friendship now, Tori? What you just did was way dirtier. And to top it, Devin, they tried to offer Devin help, but he said, "Nah, I got it."
Yeah,
did it himself.
Respect that.
Devin has been such an upswing for me. I never used to like Devin.
Oh, he was an asshole on RE1, and I really liked him there. And see, it's funny, like, loved Devin on RE1, hated Tori on RE1, and it carried over. Like I'm still going strong with who I like and dislike.
I didn't like it. I know you haven't watched all the seasons of the challenge, but it was his interactions with like Bananas and stuff. Johnny Bananas specifically. They had a couple like 2 to 3 season thing going. Devin being a new guy, being smart, yeah. Bananas being an existing guy and kind of just smack talking him, also being a smart guy. And he just came off real, just took himself too seriously. And I think
he's definitely like he thinks he's better than he is, but I'm gonna watch their seasons like I'm doing I'm gonna get there. I'm gonna do that.
Yeah. I'm gonna probably restart the challenge when you restart the challenge. I love the old challenge.
That could be a sub show that we should.
We'll probably do that. We'll do like season reviews of it. That's probably what we should do.
Yeah. So one thing I will say about this challenge is I think as soon as it got to numbers, that's when Emmanuel was bad. But like the colors, like I thought it was really cool. Like I think the Sudoku like is challenging to begin with, but when you see colors,
that was hard.
It was definitely hard, but I think it's a little easier than numbers.
Probably a little easier than numbers, but I did like that it was colors, then numbers, then picture matching. So it was 3 almost different sections of the brain too for puzzles, which again, I'd like to see that come back in the future.
I'd like those mental challenges a lot. I mean, this is a pro CT YouTube page,
obviously.
Like we'll talk about it later. Like love, like just him going and dominating like puzzles. Like I think that as you get older, like that's the competitive advantage you have.
100%.
Clearly.
Yeah, I mean, you've seen them. Like, I mean, you see with Devin, must be some kind of known common puzzle. So he knew the number already.
It took him like 20 seconds?
Yeah, not even. He just basically, it took him as long to just pick the numbers up. Yep, he's done it before.
And like Tori knew it. Like that's the thing. Like they're saying it's 9 numbers. Like Tori knew it immediately. Like a lot of the people that are good at the game know like, oh, you're gonna run into these like common puzzles sometimes.
And it just, yeah, and I don't think they're going to change the rule, Bri. I think they like that drama that ensues from that a little bit. But if it's habitual line stepping, like you're saying, and it gets too much, then I think there should be consideration. I mean, we'll see.
There, especially like, this is going into the final. Like it was week 1.
This is an important week.
This is really important.
I'm surprised TJ didn't say anything.
I wish he did. Just
he
like a mute her.
We had some good TJ lines on All Stars this week. He didn't say a lot in Spies and Lies this week, but we'll get over to some of that stuff. So, like we said, Emmanuel, Amanda, both gone. I think a good season for both. Emmanuel will definitely be a return character. Obviously, Amanda has always been. She'll be back. And, both of them, good job. Made it right to the cusp because this final 8 are the final 8 for the final challenge.
We did it.
We did it, guys. We did make it. We get towards like the end of the seasons here, and we're always like, when the hell's the final?
Like, exactly. Dude, this is one show I think could like trim 5 episodes. I think like it's long.
Yeah, 18. So it's gonna next if they finish it next week, 19 and a reunion.
20. That's a long ass season, man. Like Survivor is only like 13 episodes.
Brian, there's only 52 weeks in a year.
Right. It's crazy, man. And they're gonna be another one soon. Like they have like 10 weeks off in the year?
Yeah, I think that'll come back in like March or so, probably.
Yeah.
Okay. So let's move over now to the final. So the final challenge is going to be the final 8 competitors. This is an individual final. It looks like it's going to be done all in one day, but it is being split into legs and checkpoints. Overall, just from degree of difficulty, what I'm seeing, definitely on the lower end of degree of difficulty compared to if you look into probably the last 4 to 5 seasons. Some of the finals were really intense. I mean, a lot of overnight stuff, sleeping out in the cold, no sleeping, eating stuff, then having physical challenges. It looks like, and I'm wondering if COVID has something to do with it, which it probably does, that they kind of scaled down the intensity and the complexity, and it's much more run up here, swim here, do these puzzles, pick your team, etc. What do you think so far, at least what you've seen of just like the structure of this final?
That first puzzle was easy as hell. I can't believe it took people so long. Like it would be different if they didn't give you the points on the map to put the flags. Like I think that would have made it look, because those European countries, man.
Yeah, there was definitely slots to put the flags in
on that thing. It would take me multiple guesses, but CT obviously immediately. And this is the one thing I wish they did. They had the multiple helicopters of like who got done. Yeah. I think it should have been like you wait everyone, like CT finished first, then it was Tori, right? Isn't that what it was?
Yeah, CT then Tori.
They should have timed it. So how the amount of time that CT had between Tori, he gets to jump out of the helicopter into the water, and then they count down, okay, Tori, you can go. Like they both jumped. Like I think CT lost. It didn't matter because I'm obviously rooting for him. Like he's got the advantage here. But I think they needed to implement that time factor that I'm always clamoring for. Because
I 100% agree.
Sorry, like these people that sucked with an easy ass puzzle should have like a serious disadvantage to getting out of the helicopter or swimming further. Like they drop CT off closer and then like they slowly get further back.
We're always usually on the same page now as the months have gone on watching these types of shows, because that is basically a bullet point I have here. I wrote it, and the way I have it is, and you will watch the new season when it comes out, but they do something similar to like that in The Amazing Race, for example. So like if you finish first and you finish 2 hours ahead of team 2, you have a 2-hour jump on team 2. Then if team 2 is 1 minute ahead of team 3, that's when team 3 goes. And I know for some things, and I think, and I was talking to my buddy Ryan about this last night. I said, I think the reason they got rid of that is, and I couldn't tell you off the top of my head, but there was probably a season or two where like early legs, like leg 1 or 2, someone blew someone out of the water so bad that they made the other legs almost irrelevant. And there's, this, like, they don't show us that. They never like update you on time, but I have a feeling that may have happened a few times. That being said, I agree with you. Just tweak it a little bit, where even if it was like, why wasn't it be like, okay, first two people, the first helicopter is going to go, and it just goes. And then like just go. You know what I mean? If they knew they were going to get to the cells at that midpoint, what did it matter? Just go. Like, I didn't like that. Like, literally, they even showed the helicopter drop. CT and Tori were like 30 yards ahead of Nelson.
Yeah, I don't think that's fair.
Bullshit. And also, let's move on with that part. Bullshit that they're not even swimming. They're using the motor things, dude. And I've used them for you. They have things you don't do anything.
Right.
You just hold on, and they're fast. Yeah. Like, how are they even tired? They don't even do anything in this so far.
I think this is where the spy mentality comes in. Like, they loved using those in challenges.
Everything has got to be themed. It's like a crappy theme party at college.
Hopefully they go to like the Greek Olympics back in the old days, where they have to swim, have to run, have to lift like things.
You're right. What kind of theme would we be happy with for the next set of challenges? I want them to go back to, honestly, man, I would love for them to just go back to like the Gauntlet or like Inferno. Yeah. Just do a new season of an old classic.
Yeah, like Revived or something like that. Like
Rivals. I don't know. Do a fresh meat. Do anything. I don't care. Just do anything. Just do anything. Get old meat. That's what All Stars. Old meat. Leftovers. All Stars leftovers.
Right.
I mean, as far as like really then, like, we've kind of given you the main layout. There was a puzzle challenge in the beginning with a run, which led to, if you were in certain places, being put into a helicopter. The helicopter dropped you in the water. You had to swim on the little motor thing in the water to go pick up some piece, like a puzzle piece, basically, and bring it to shore. Then you got to change into your like sneakers. You get to run to the top of the hill and then do more puzzles. And then once you finish that puzzle, you were able to run over to a midpoint, I'm assuming, checkpoint of the challenge with two cells. What was it? Orange and purple?
Yes.
There was some goofy gem bullshit, precious gem, whatever. But, it's like a Pokemon game.
It pretty much is. But I will say the thing about this is this actually finishing at a certain place had an impact to pick where you wanted to be. So I kind of did like that. I think that going back to the cell thing is dumb, but I like that getting first place, you have like more of a control of how that next leg is going to go.
Yeah, it wasn't like a shuffling of the deck and none of the time matters. They're not keeping time. It's obviously first to the finish line. That's how they're playing this, and whatever, that's fine. But again, there should be some advantages. So like we said, they get to the end, the final 8. So no one gets eliminated so far. It doesn't look like, at least so far. It looks like they're going to purge next week.
Yeah, I think the losing cell probably will get the axe, or the losing cell has to fight each other, and then the losers go out.
That's what I think it's going to be. I think it's self-consuming. So the two pods, what? Yeah, literally Lord of the Flies. So there's going to be 2 pods left going into next week. The first one is the top 4 finishers: CT, Devin, Tori, and Emmy. It's a monster.
I mean, that's a favorite.
That's a monster team.
And yeah, we got to give like also props to Emmy. Like, she did cheat at that last final, but she's been.
I don't care.
I don't care either.
I love that. We were literally texting about that before the show. We were like, when we were both watching, I was like, why? CT smart. You were like, CT destroyed it. That was sick. And I'm like, yeah, but I did see Emmy steal, and that was great.
When he just like trashed
broke it.
Like, loved it. Like, that made me laugh out loud. Like, because he fucked up in the beginning where he didn't undo it. Like, they could have been sitting there even longer with the state map or the country map.
Emmy came in, was almost in last because she dropped the flag and didn't know.
America.
That was an all-time classic. If she had gotten eliminated for that, that would have been epically terrible, because it was just on the ground and they don't tell them. They're just like zooming in on it.
Yep, great.
The other pod would be the bottom 4 finishers: Nani, Casey, Kyle, Nelson. I mean, they show the previews. At some point, they get ahead of the other team, but it's probably because they're starting at like the same time. So I don't think it's going to be some like big epic collapse.
It means nothing to me.
I'd be very surprised.
Kyle will mess up at some point.
Be very. Oh yeah, there's no way. Nani's also. She's not going to keep up.
She stinks. Like you said, I liked your text. Like, she needs to be relegated to All-Stars.
Yeah, she needs to be relegated to All-Stars. She needs to go and win an All-Stars season or finish in like a top 2 to come back to regular, but you know they're not going to do that because of Casey. So they probably want Casey back. So Casey's probably always going to be like, well, I want Nani. And literally Nani is a career challenge person. She just, I don't literally think she does anything else.
Boring. Like Casey's awesome, but like Nani, I thought the season was just kind of there.
Just like how we watched last season where like Casey had a girlfriend. It was all like, can't do that. It wouldn't be right. They come back this season like, I dumped my girlfriend to be with Nani. Like, oh,
yeah, this is Steal Your Girl. Nani.
She is Miss Steal Your Girl, Nani. I mean, honestly, for Spies, Lies, and Allies, I think that's pretty much the main gist here. I think next week's the finale.
Yeah, I think so too. I hope so.
We still going with CT here?
Yeah, I mean, I think especially if you think they're dumbing the challenges down, I think all that does is help CT. Personally.
Yeah, there's gonna be one more puzzle probably after this purge. I think the last leg will be a sprint with a puzzle and a sprint again. You know what I mean? It's pretty straightforward here. Or it looks like the team thing is some kind of carrying. There's always like carry the big stupid boat. This is probably going to be with them carrying a missile. That I'm calling it right now.
It is a missile. It is a missile.
Oh, it is. Okay. I was like, they're carrying the nuke up the fucking mountain.
Yeah. Get to the thing. Teacher's going to be like, carry your missile up, then get the launch code.
Get the launch code, and then you go to the rendezvous point for evac. Exactly. Okay, so stay tuned. We are going to have part 2 of this episode. It will be All Stars Season 2, Episode 5. I guess what do we do to get out of here? I guess we put the launch codes in or something like beep boop beep 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 bop. Welcome back to part 2. If you're here, that means you survived the blast. Congratulations. That means you're able to enjoy part 2 of our 2-part episode. We are joined here by fellow survivor Waleed.
Hey guys, thanks for having me.
Oh, of course, bud. Waleed, this is now, I guess, is probably what, 3rd appearance now here on season 2, something like that.
I think 4th actually.
There we go. See,
yeah, I'm coming up on 5, man. Big 5.
He's getting the recurring guest title now. You know what I mean? That's definitely recurring. Always friend of the show. Not a lot of friendships going on, though, in this episode of the Challenge All-Stars. Episode 5, again, which you can find on Paramount Plus, is entitled Old Tina Can't Come to the Phone. So the title obviously lets us know that Tina is going to be and was a big central focus of the episode. I used to love Tina on the old seasons. I used to love that she was just a shit star, and it was just kind of like a matter of time kind of thing. Waleed, I know you've gone back, watched all the seasons pretty recently. What's your give people the intel on Tina?
Yeah, I mean, she's entertaining, you know, when it comes to like the drama in the house and all that stuff. But as a competitor, let me just say she's one of the most overrated competitors in the history of the show. I mean, I'll never forget the cutthroat season from like this is the season when CT backpacked Johnny Bananas and like went across the finish. I don't know if you guys, that's like synonymous.
That's iconic. Yeah.
Yeah, but like he was brought back as a heavy hitter to go up against the 2 guys in elimination, and whoever did best against CT would remain in the game. For the women, the female competitor they brought back was Tina.
Yep.
And Tina, people forget, they don't talk about it enough, but Tina got ragdolled by both girls. And like, you know, I was like, they brought her back as a heavy hitter, and she did.
It was like a homecoming game.
I was like, yeah, you are not on CT's level at all. Like you expected her to like dominate the girls just like he did, but she didn't at all. So
they were like mercenaries, right? Some crap like that.
Yeah, you know, it was such a good scene, but that was just like one of the moments where I was like, yeah, Tina's just overrated. She's not much, you know, to hang your hat on, you know.
Brian, do you have any feelings on Tina?
Oh, I was just gonna ask, was that like she said she hasn't done something in 15 years? Like, is that like possibly the last time she was on? Like she got relegated to something that wasn't there yet?
Yeah. The last time she was a competitor on the challenge,
yeah,
like a castmate on the show was like 15 years ago.
Yeah, that's what she said.
That thing was like 6 years ago. She does, Bri, in that thing. She does mention that they do show a quick cutaway in episode 1 of like the CT and her walking up to the stand of like that.
I remember that. Yeah, I remember.
They don't show her getting her ass beat, but I do remember that she does get ragdolled, like Waleed says, which is really funny.
That was her last appearance. She came on just for that special episode with CT and just was terrible.
Makes
Didn't
it-
do anything.
I just want to know what the resume is to get on All Stars.
You have to be old.
I know the old elderly like challenge.
You have to
win.
have gotten in at least one huge blow up fight in the house.
Okay.
You have either had to have won or have come in last.
Okay.
That's a good one, a way to go to get on. Getting kicked off of a challenge definitely helps you get on All Stars.
Mhm.
As long as it wasn't something racial, basically. I'm pretty sure anything other than that. And if you're watching shit now, if you're watching like the Real World Homecoming LA, like
I am. I'm
You-
actually watching that.
yeah, like I mean, you got guys that literally were walking around with their dicks out and like they're not in trouble and they're still getting to come back for reunions. So you basically, as long as you, so I think those are basically the premises. Like you just have to have done something memorable.
Yeah.
That's fair. I don't know.
That's a good one. Let's formulate that for next week and come out with the official Reality Guys like kind of qualifications to be an
Yeah.
all-star. I'll take a look at the roster list too and see if I can see some commonalities and all.
Like,
I-
see who actually like meets the requirement.
Yeah, and maybe even some current people that we think are shoo-ins for when they're older, 10 years from now.
Or when season 3 is coming out, we can have a list of who we think could qualify. to be on.
Yeah, we should do a prediction. All right, cool. So now we got some things, we got some ideas for an episode there.
Yeah.
I do have a couple quick points. There's not a ton on this one I really want to go over with you guys, but there are some funny points we're going to power through really quick. Maybe one of the worst alliance names of all time, the Three Kings,
Yeah.
Nehemiah, Latarian, and Tech. You don't name your alliances.
We don't want no frankincense and myrrh. Like, nah.
This is a non-denominational challenge. Okay.
Yeah.
There's no praying on the challenge.
Yeah.
Okay. Speaking of serious things on the challenge, something I wanted to note. We're not going to talk about like Melinda and her baby and stuff, but the challenge and any MTV show, it has something that it's like a magic power. They could segue from dead babies to a floating jungle gym in the sky with a mid-90s song in like 7 seconds. The challenge leaves no room to breathe. There's like devastating real life. Well, here's the jungle gym challenge with a hose, TJ. Like,
Yeah.
there's just something about that just not like that. It makes me laugh, but there is something that just like they can't. There is no chill to the
All
challenge.
business, man.
No chill to the challenge.
Yeah.
Bri, do you have info on the challenge bounce back?
What do you mean? Like, what do I think of it?
Yeah, well, let people know kind of what was it about, your vibe on it, and then I'll get
I thought this was a
Waleed.
lazy ass challenge, if I'm going to be honest with you. Like, essentially, you like level steps, but you have to jump up on a trampoline, and then you have to like. There's like 3 like puzzle pieces to help you with another math thing downstairs, or not downstairs when you jump off. You can only grab one at a time. Let's remember that because that happened today. And I just think that this is a lazy one, and I was really surprised that so many people were not good at it.
Waleed, your thoughts?
Yeah, I mean, well, it's a good thing Katie met her end last week because she would have probably
Yes.
got that.
100%.
That was one of my early
Very
thoughts.
true.
And I mean, seeing Casey basically, and a lot of the girls were just falling on their asses like in the water and just like getting dizzy, losing a lot of their strength, like trying to just get out of the water and do it again. And it's like, it's one of those things where it's just like you got to keep trying at it. And every challenge, it feels like there's at least one person quitting now.
I do like that. I do love that people just straight quit, and they're all so much older that TJ doesn't. Well, TJ does have a line. We'll get to me. And before we get to like the results of it, Waleed, anything else on just like the general premise of this challenge? Do you agree with Brian that they're lazy challenges?
So lazy, this one.
Yeah, I mean, it's I'm still shocked at like that they actually, after doing so many seasons of this, that they still can end up coming up with these different concepts and things.
That's
Some
a
of them
good
have
point.
similarities and stuff, but then it's just like, man, whose job is it to create these challenges on these shows? Like that's got to be like one of the coolest jobs.
Yeah.
Like, like I would
You got to test them. Like, somebody's got to test
definitely.
these.
I'll throw some points out there from this challenge to get your guys' reaction to. My general thoughts, I said that this was basically like a game of Cubert. You're just hopping up on the thing. So anyone who knows Cubert, that's basically what this was with trampolines. Casey, obviously Casey keeps falling. She got so mad as she kept falling and people were clapping her on. She goes, "These assholes keep cheering me on." So she quits. When she quits, a plane flies over them, and TJ goes, "Hear that plane? You're gonna be on the next one home."
Zingers. It's got the zingers, man.
I also notes from this. We've talked about this in season 1, but I love how many fucks we get.
Oh, me too.
Love just F-bombs, just
Nothing
nonstop.
like a good F-bomb for sure. Yeah.
They have about 40 an episode. It's clear. It does help. Tech didn't know how to do math.
Chop. Huge chop.
Not at all. Like he was way ahead on the time, but then literally couldn't do the math problems. They were making fun of him, say he couldn't do division. They were dogging him pretty bad. Steve, is your point, he screwed up trying to do 2 at once.
Yeah.
Follow instructions, man. Like
a lot of these new guys who haven't been on like forever think they're being clever, and it's just like you're trying to do too much, trying to prove a point, and you end up screwing yourself in the end every time.
that's fair. I mean, it's undefeated at this point, and it's definitely in this show.
Yeah.
So Melinda, the last individual point, Melinda got herself disqualified. I think she just got her wind knocked out of her. Looks
Literally.
like.
Yeah, she looked like she was literally choking on like a gallon of water.
These people, I don't know if they know how to land in water correctly, or they just, it blows my mind.
You gotta go in feet first. don't fall on your belly or anything like that, because
right.
That's good. That's what's gonna collapse your lung one day. Like you don't want to do that.
We've done this show before. Why did we just forget how to jump into water?
I mean, they're just not that smart or athletic. Honestly, this season there's a lot less athletic people. It's kind of funny. It does make it a little almost funnier, and they turned the challenges down. If you go back to like week 1 or 2 of season 1, they were dying.
They were dead. That one that had to get like medevac every other person.
They just stopped the challenge.
Yeah, so bad.
So the losers were Melinda and Steve, automatically going to the arena. The winners were Darrell and Jody. Jody is definitely coming out as a powerhouse. She always was, obviously, first female individual winner in challenge history. So, keeping that target on her back, but keeping herself immune. Really quickly through the deliberations and stuff. The original 4 placed were Tech, Ayanna, Tyler, and Tina. The idea is to get Ayanna to use her lifesaver so that Tech is vulnerable. So when Brad and Ayanna come over when Darrell and whatever come over with their lifesavers, Ayanna gets really mad.
Well, Brad and Ayanna have the lifesavers.
Yeah, from last week.
Yeah, when they come over to join Darrell and Jody for the deliberation.
I wanted to tell her to shut up. That was
really bad take. What do you think, Waleed? Bad take on Ayanna's part?
Yeah, of course. I mean, obviously it was her strategy and everything, and they mentioned it. They were like, I think she's because we didn't put Brad in there to make him use his life shield, so why did they put her in there to make her use hers? So it's like, hey, that's the name of the game at this point. I mean, if Ayanna wanted to prove a point, she should have still, because she said earlier in the episode that she would save Tech. If he was in there, she should have still proved the point and been like, you know what, I'm not saving myself. I'm going to save Tech anyway. It's like, which girl wants to go against me again?
She should have.
She should have. If she wants to make a power move and be like, hey, I already won twice in this freaking arena. Like, let's which either Melinda or Tina, whoever you want to put up against me, I'll smash both of these girls. Let's go.
I think that's a really good point. Like they spelled it out to her. Like nothing.
She's like, this same thing happened last week.
Yeah, because like she knows what they were doing. She knows what they were doing. They wanted Tech in. It's like, no, you're not putting Tech in. I'm gonna put it. That's how you throw a wrench in their little scheme. Yep. That's how you do it when you have an alliance going against an alliance. You got to know what they're trying to do and try and prevent it. She didn't play it smart enough. So I was sad. I was actually a little upset to see her use her life shield on herself.
Man, she took it really seriously, really quick. Like she was a few words from saying like, you're like taking away my rights. And like, she was about to start equating it to like the real world and personal freedoms. And I was like, oh no, they're not going here. And then she kind of stopped or they edited it out because they just didn't want it to become that. Unlike Survivor, if you watch an episode of Survivor, you get a lot of information about society. That's half of the episodes in the beginning now.
Yeah.
So we move on. They get to the vote. Tina and Tech are the vote. Man, Tina gets upset too. Real big mad. She basically gets mad that they're not voting based off performance, but that's never really how they vote on the challenge.
I agree. Again, have you watched the show in the 30 billion seasons?
She was on it.
Yeah, exactly. Like, I'm sorry, I can't feel bad for any of these people.
Like Tech, we are just here so we don't get fined.
Mm-hmm.
Very nice. I like how someone was actually upset by that though. Like, that's all you're gonna say? Is like, yeah.
It's
Like, who cares? Well, yeah. What's he supposed to do? Don't vote for me.
Yeah.
Everyone was mad that Steve turned on the King's Palace as well. There's another traitor in our midst. We know a thing or two about that. Really quick, end of this episode here, guys. The elimination. It's called Switchback. Basically 3 light switches for each of the competitors. The idea is that you want to turn off all their switches by running up and pressing the buttons. It's kind of a speed endurance challenge. You need to have all of your opponents off while having at least one of yours on. So the first one is the guys, correct? Yeah, the guys go first.
Mm-hmm.
It's Tech and Steve. I think it was pretty obvious from the start. I mean, there was an obvious advantage, I think, to Tech.
Yeah, I was actually kind of surprised that Tech won.
Really?
Yeah.
Because I think Steve should have just truck sticked him, like making his soul leave his body and then just do it. And like Steve also messed up.
He did. Yeah. He had a
What do you thought, Waleed? Did you think that Tech or Steve was the favorite in that challenge?
I mean, honestly, the odds beforehand, probably you would think Steve was the favorite. But I mean, honestly, Steve is not. I mean, they both proved even in the challenge earlier in the day, when they were doing the trampoline challenge. They both proved that they're not the brightest. The brightest when it comes to certain things. They both were not smart when they were doing that. So, I mean, I think really it was kind of anybody's game once you got to the middle of it. It just takes one of them to slip up, and Steve always had that chance where it's like he slipped up twice in this episode and it cost him. So.
We've seen that on both the All-Stars and the Spies, Lies, and Allies, even throughout the last few weeks. A lot of the challenges have come down to just who makes a mistake. I think the only reason why I would maybe tend to disagree, just thinking that Tech may be the favorite, is just from watching how that challenge played out. It didn't look like they really cared about those lanes. And I don't think that Steve, if you had a guy like MJ or anyone who's a bigger and actually a little athletic, I don't think he would, unless he hit him on the very first run and caught him off guard. I really think Steve wouldn't have like any left to right agility to like get Tech on a hit. And you miss a hit or you're trying to do that and you're not really in great shape, he was going to get gassed. You know what I mean? I think even the hit he laid on him, even though he knocked him the second time, he probably put like everything he had into that hit.
Yeah, because now he was ready for it. Like Steve wasn't even thinking about getting physical, I think, doing this challenge. And then Tech laid out the first hit, and we were like, oh wait, now Tech's got a shot.
How do you get truck sticked by Tech?
He was not thinking. Anyone can get trucked by anyone if you're not looking for it.
I'm ready for it.
No, he should know, man.
He should have known, but
he hasn't been. But you said he was dumb. He wasn't thinking about it.
I guess, like, I don't know.
He was dumb.
It's the challenge, bro.
Of course.
Well, most of the people are dumb.
When you say, I mean,
you're right. You guys are definitely right. But I mean, you as a person, who's watched these shows, you've been on it in the past, you should know that you're going to get physical
at some point. Yeah.
The people who watch the challenge do not take good notes compared to the people that go on Survivor who watch Survivor. People who watch Survivor and get on Survivor tend to know what the hell is going on.
Right. Exactly.
Yeah,
okay. So obviously Tech wins. Another great quote from Tech. I'm nobody's punk. Fuck you.
I was so happy to see Tech win, though. I was rooting for him the whole time. I mean, I wanted Steve out, to be honest with you. He just, too many new plays that he had throughout the first 4 episodes. I mean, I was just not really a fan of Steve's from the beginning. So I was a fan of Tech from the last season. So I wanted to see him have some success. So it was good to see him get his first elimination win.
Are you guys ready for a new segment that I like to call the Reality Guys Challenge Moment of the Week? So the inaugural challenge moment of the week, I already messed it up. The inaugural challenge moment of the week is going to go to someone, in history, guys. There's something to be said about peaceful protest and the standing up for what you believe in. There's things like, Tiananmen Square, people standing in front of the tanks. There's like the monk lighting himself on fire. We have guys during the civil rights movement, sit-ins, everything like that. And then we had Tina. Tina is so brave because Tina decided that her soul was not worth being in the challenge house anymore. She realized that it wasn't worth her mental health to see her name. Actually, in this one, they don't even write it down, just to be orally said. That may not be fair. So Tina walked out to the center of that ring and she just took one right in between the temple and laid down. She just refused to play. She took her ball and went home.
So disappointing.
Number one rule not to do in TJ's ass.
Do you realize that TJ did not? He's probably a little afraid of her too. Though did not give her like a sassy line about a plane or anything like that. She might have went and headbutted him.
Yeah, I think if this is the first time that somebody backed out like Katie did last week, I think he would have been a little more mad. But he knows what he's getting into on this version of the show.
Yeah.
I don't. It was such like even TJ like what? It was kind of a lame way to end the episode, but
shocking. Like I mean. I mean, Tina's always been overrated in my book, like I said at the start of this, but
yeah.
She's never quit. Like she's always at least tried. Like, so that's why I was so disappointed to see that. I mean, it's like, come on, you talked all that shit in the kitchen just a half hour ago. And you know,
literally 40 minutes ago, you were like,
so,
and you won't want to see me come back.
Yeah, and it's just like, then she just had an epiphany, like, oh, I'm not gonna do this. I don't want to see these people anymore. They're bringing out a side of me like I just don't understand, you know, why all of a sudden this epiphany that you feel like you're losing your soul and your mind in this process. And you feel like, oh wait, it's a 5-minute challenge, if less than that. You feel like if you at least compete that you're going to lose yourself in some way. Like, I don't get it. It's just, it made her quitting here made no sense to me. Usually it's because you're afraid of something. This made no sense to me.
The truth of the matter is Tina has definitely not changed since she's been on the challenge, and she kept her cool for the first few weeks, and she started to notice herself starting to get like herself. And so she just made up some crap about losing herself. And more so is that she was just losing her patience and she was going to start being what she is, and which is pretty much a crazy person.
She didn't want the old Tina to come back, man.
The old Tina never went anywhere. She just ran out of her act that she kept up for 4 weeks.
Yeah, and everyone sees through it now. That's why it's just, you know.
Well, she's gone, man. And Bri, yeah, I don't think we're that close to the final. Who said that?
The girl, I don't remember, but that was an absurd line to me.
It wasn't like Casey, right?
No, I don't remember who said it, but it was absolutely.
Let me just say, so far this season, no one's been luckier than Casey.
Yeah, Casey stinks.
I mean, she won the last challenge. I mean, you know, I'm proud of her that she actually attempted it and, you know, tackled her fear of heights and everything. But that was, you know, she's so lucky, especially since she quit in this challenge earlier today. And if not for Melinda DQing, she would be in the elimination. So she got so lucky.
Yeah. I understand these people wanting to quit challenges, but why are they so upset when they quit the challenges? They're so mad. They're sobbing. It's like, what just happened? You quit. Like, no one did anything to you, but they're so upset when these happen. All right. Well, honestly, I mean, I think this was, listen, this, as far as comparing them to other episodes of All Stars, I don't think it was great. Not a bad episode, but compared to probably the last 2 to 3 that have been really, really good, maybe a step down this week. You guys agree?
Yep.
Yeah, definitely. Now that Derek's gone, there's a little bit of a step down. Always is.
Well, I think we have an opportunity, obviously, next week. We will be back. Obviously, I'm not going to say what our next episode is. We have a few things recorded, so I'm not going to say what the next thing dropping is. But obviously, next week, you will see our coverage. Part 1, basically, of the finale of The Bachelorette is next Tuesday. And then we will have the finale of Survivor 41. And it looks like also the first half of this, part 5 of this series of this season will be the finale of Spies, Lies, and Allies. And then episode 6 of Challenge All Stars. We'll also have a season review coming in the next week or so of the Real Housewives Ultimate Girls Trip, like a 5-8 minute review. And then, we'll move on to another series to give you either a first impression bros of or a season review of. Waleed will definitely be back for Challenge, maybe for other stuff as well. But for myself, Brian, Waleed, Kevin, peace.